Live from the EPB Fiber Optic Studio, this is WLND Signal Mountain, Chattanooga.
Health, wellness, lifestyle, nutrition, and so much more. Welcome to Vital Health Radio, presented by CHI Memorial on 98.1 The Lake, a production of Whitfield Media Group, with your hosts, Ed Jones, owner of Nutrition World, and Dr. Christopher Greene, board-certified medical doctor.
Good morning and welcome to Vital Health Radio, presented by CHI Memorial, 98.1 The Lake. Thank you for taking your time this Sunday morning to join us. We are a radio show that's all about your health, wellness, lifestyle, nutrition, and healthy living. I am Ed Jones, owner of Nutrition World here in Chattanooga, and joining me is Dr. Christopher Greene, medical doctor of CHI Memorial, Georgia. Good morning, Dr. Greene.
It's hard to catch yourself with that, isn't it, Ed? What he's doing there, guys, is that I've been the chief of staff for CHI Memorial, Georgia, for the last year, and CHI Memorial rotates their chiefs of staff, and so although I still have that designation, it's for last year and not this year, and there's another one who is taking over. But I'm still involved with that and honored to do so. Thank you, CHI Memorial, for all you're doing in our community, especially for building the new hospital in North Georgia, and I can't wait to see that within the next 5 years. A facility to replace the current hospital is coming, people, and it's going to be amazing. It really will be. So thank you again, CHI Memorial, for that, as well as being the title sponsor of our show, and Ed and I are both very appreciative. I'm also wanting to give a shout out to Benchmark Physical Therapy. I work with them, as well as LHC Group. That's Louisiana Healthcare through Home Care Solutions, Home Health in both Ringgold and now Dalton. We have 2 offices there, as well as Heartlight Hospice of Dalton. And both of those LHC corporations continue to minister to all the people of Northwest Georgia and do a fantastic job. And I'm so happy, Ed, to have a voice this week, or at least today. I mean, finally, Sunday, I'm getting a voice. And this last week, I rarely get sick, but got one of those summer colds, so running a low-grade fever. And, in the past, before I was taking all of these lovely supplements and vitamins that I do now, it might have gone a week, 7 to 10 days, something like that. But about 3.5 days of complete misery in the office. My poor patients had to put up with me, and I apologize to all of you who are listening that had to see me while I was sick and listen to that and put up with my runny nose and sneezing. But, in just a few days with some elderberry, vitamin C, vitamin D, and just kept pushing it like Ed would at work as well until you're finally well and back on your feet. Let me give a little reminder, given the summer season, from CHI Memorial, that skin cancer, including melanoma, is a startling diagnosis that brings a flood of questions. At CHI Memorial, we understand and are recognized nationally as a melanoma treatment center that offers exceptional care, knowledge, and compassion. Regular skin checks are important because melanoma can be cured if it is discovered and treated early. It typically starts as a growth or a lesion that differs from the surrounding skin, and not all melanomas develop from moles, and the symptoms can vary. So it is very important to discuss any changes with your doctor. Call 423-495-7778 today to speak with an expert. And again, what an honor to be a primary care doctor in this community and work with such wonderful people, both in the medical field, traditionally, and with people like Ed, who owns Nutrition World. Ed, what is up in your world?
Well, thank you, my friend, and I'm glad to see you on the mend and doing well. I do love your comment, which is something I certainly totally have seen happen over 41 years. If you jump on the support of your body's immune system early on during some kind of normal infection like a cold or something, you will normally get better about 40% quicker. So that means instead of being sick 7 to 8 days, you may look at about 4 days. Now, to me, I found that you have a window of opportunity of about 36 hours once you start getting feeling ill to jump on it. Once you've had to it maybe 2 to 3 days, it really won't make a difference to me what you're going to do nutritionally other than preventing secondary infections. But your question was, what's happening in my world? Well, Nutrition World is always full steam ahead. We are getting ready to open a new building, the Wellness Corner.
Yeah, I drove by there, Ed. It looks really nice.
Thank you. In about 4 weeks, we will have 6 new practitioners. Practitioners, what does that mean? It is really where we are putting in place a group of people, extreme professionals who are passionate and expert in their field of what we could call functional health, holistic health, nutritional health. Many words describe it. It is, again, we're attempting and will do partnership with conventional healthcare practitioners, but also the trend is and momentum is massively strong of the public who wants and desires a bigger toolbox in order to maintain and help their health. Well, you can't be expected, Dr. Greene, to know acupuncture. You don't.
But I'd like to learn.
Well, you would, and because there's nothing I don't think that would come across your table that you would not say, well, I would like to at least pursue it, and some things you'd like to learn.
Yeah, leeches I don't have any interest in, so I'm going to draw the line there. But acupuncture, I'll try some of that.
Yeah, I have done practically everything and many of things I could not even speak about on this radio show, but leeches will be one I will not do. Unless, well, I say that.
Oh, you shouldn't have said it.
I know. If I have, and maggots.
Oh, and now maggots are a real therapy. They work.
Sure they do.
We don't usually use them here, but it does work.
Yeah, they eat, well, that's a good segue into one of the topics that I had off the news this morning, the flesh-eating bacteria.
Yeah.
I don't think the maggots would work for that because it's too aggressive.
No, it's more for like decubiti and things like that where you have a lot of dead tissue that needs to be eaten away.
Yeah. I think mentally that would really play a game on most people, including me. But this flesh-eating bacteria, I mean, it's all over the news. And again, we have to keep in mind, and I know you probably would agree with this, that the news media will reach to the lowest levels to find something that will create headlines. And how many of you out there listening has ever had a relative or friend have flesh-eating bacteria? The chances are no one listening has. So does that mean that we should be alarmed, and never swim in waters? No, it means we need to be educated and wise. So
yeah. And be aware, some places are more dangerous than others.
Yes.
I can remember in Hawaii, they have some, ironically, highly populated water. Some of the fresh water inland. I mean, they have signs. Did you ever notice that when you're there? They have a lot of signs. I was about to jump in one, saw a sign that said, do not do that. There are amoeba here, and amoebiasis is horribly dangerous. But it had signs about all of the pollutants. I guess people they weren't that careful. And I was surprised to find that in a place like Hawaii.
Huh.
But yes, you're right. I mean, don't swim with an open wound. Take some normal precautions. Good cleanliness. For me, soap and water cleansing after you've been in a lake, fresh water, or salt water for that matter. There are certain infections you can get when you step on shells. You mentioned the necrotizing fasciitis, flesh-eating disease, and there was a case a few weeks ago. I think it was a gentleman from Alabama that was on the news that had been swimming in the Tennessee River. Was that the case? And I did see the pictures, and it looked horribly painful, whichever limb that was infected. But it's caused by a group A strep bacteria. So it's not terribly uncommon, but it's not something we see on a regular basis. But then I'm not an infectious disease specialist either, so maybe they do see it more than most primary care doctors. But there are plenty of bad infections. And I think I mentioned to you off the air, but what I find terribly interesting is one of my board questions. Well, actually, it wasn't a board question. It was just a CME. From a month or so ago, the question was the resurgence in something called Lemire syndrome, which you've probably never heard of either, right?
No, I have not.
Okay. It is suppurative thrombophlebitis of the internal jugular vein. So try saying that. So I have seen one case, and that was back in around, 1994 or 1995. So a long time ago, and I didn't even live in this town at the time. So extremely rare way back when. But it's making a resurgence. And the reason for that on the question, the correct answer was it's making a resurgence, and other germs are because of the good stewardship of antibiotics by providers. So we've been encouraged for the last 10 or 15 years to not prescribe as much antibiotics because we are not, even though resistance may not be worsening as quickly as it could, we're seeing a resurgence of what used to be more rare germs. Very odd.
Interesting. Well, I think part of the overabundance of antibiotics has created a stronger family of pathogens because they adapt. So it's an interesting concept. Of course, I always go back to the fact that microbiome, which is the gut bacteria, is 60% of our immune system. And anytime you take any antibiotics, it's going to destroy that and imbalance it. So if we don't do something to help it, we are somewhat doomed. But I will say, as much as the medical care people are definitely getting better about prescribing less. Still, the most prevalent use of antibiotics is in animals. That's the biggest purchasers of antibiotics is for the cattle and the chickens. So even those people like me who would probably have to be on a deathbed before I would take something, I'm taking it every day. I eat chicken. And I can't run
and that's in their feed, right?
It's in their feed, but it's in their bodies. I mean, it's tested. It's substantial amounts. If you like I do, just eat chicken or meat every single day, at least
I'm
one
just thinking
serving.
we wouldn't do that to us. I wouldn't put all my patients on an antibiotic in their food.
But it's about profits. It makes the animal bigger. When I posted photos of chicken in 1960 opposed to the chicken in 1990, the chicken of 1990 is 2.5 times bigger. And, it gradually happens, so we didn't notice it when you look around. But, all right, well, that's interesting. We had a nice little banter there, Dr. Greene. Well, it's time for us to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to be discussing more about your health. And we're going to be talking about training again in Gold's Gym.
But probably not maggots, people. Probably not that.
No more of that. No. Got that, plus more to come. For Dr. Greene, I am Ed Jones. And stay with us.
You're listening to Vital Health Radio, presented by CHI Memorial on 98.1 The Lake. We'll be back after these messages. Welcome back to Vital Health Radio, presented by CHI Memorial on 98.1 The Lake.
Welcome back, and thank you for making us a part of your day. If you're always on the move, download the free radio.com app to your smartphone or tablet and keep us tuned in each Sunday morning right here on 98.1 The Lake. We are a radio show that's all about your health, wellness, lifestyle, nutrition, and healthy living. I'm Ed Jones, back again with my partner, Dr. Christopher Greene, and today we have our once-a-month guest, Joey Bruns, in from Gold's Gym. Welcome, my friend Joey.
Thanks.
We just are talking. Joey has a big bandage on his elbow. He's a super fitness nut, and he was out biking, and kickstand came down, and he went head over heels. And he's a tough fella, but I'm glad you're still functioning and operating. I know you won't miss a day in the gym, even with that. I do have to put my 2 cents worth in. Anytime I have an injury, the two things I do is put tea tree oil on it and arnica internally. Arnica is something that's really weird, but I have seen it work wonders to prevent bruising and to accelerate healing. It's called a homeopathic remedy. They're little pellets, and you do it every 2 to 3 hours, and it is amazing. So I have to put a plug in for what I believe in. But today, Joey, we are, again, talking about your expertise in the gym is remarkable. I have worked out with Joey off and on for years, been in Gold's Gym for as long as they've been open. How long have Gold's actually been on Lehigh Way?
As Gold's Gym, it's been about four or 5 years, but the gym itself has been there for a little over probably 12 or 13 years.
Because it was owned by someone else, but I've been there since the day they opened. Where do you work out, Dr. Greene?
Well, of course, we have the membership with Gold's, and I go there sometimes, but downtown. So I guess, Joey, are you over downtown?
I'm on Lee Highway.
Okay. So downtown, mostly at the Rock Fitness, which is in Fort Oglethorpe, right beside my office, which is 4700 Battlefield Parkway. I've been there as a charter member owned by a good friend of mine, Rodney Waters. Great gym and a good family atmosphere there as well.
Oh, great. Well, the main thing is that people get to some place where they exercise, but I am a fan of Gold's. So
it's beside my office, so I have no excuse. I have to pass it every day, so yeah.
Convenience is so important because Gold's is right down from Nutrition World.
And Joey might agree, I take away my excuses for not exercising by carrying my gear every day, even if I'm sick, and I have to drive by my gym on the way home. So there's no excuse other than pure laziness or sickness.
That's awesome.
Dr. Greene, that is such an important tip to people to listen to, because I do exactly the same thing. 7 days a week, there's a gym bag in my trunk with underwear, socks, and workout shirt and shorts. Because it's too easy to use as an excuse.
You don't have to do 3 hours. I remember the days, probably 15 years ago, when I would do 3-hour workouts every time. I just don't have time for that. Life is too busy. But I can go run for 20 minutes or 30 if I don't have much time.
Bingo. Well, Joey, one question I know a lot of people who are not gym nuts, like Dr. Greene and myself, probably wonder about is, they see all these big machines in a gym, or they also see non-machines like chin-up bars and things that you don't use weights on. What is your feeling on most people's goal? Should they use all machines? Should they use all free weight? Should they use, free body exercises? What do you find is probably the best for the normal individual who's just trying to stay in good shape?
Well, I appreciate all the machines in the gym, and I think that they are imitating primal movements that we do in life. So, for instance, you might find a chest machine that's going to help translate into push-ups, or a lat pull-down machine that's going to translate into pull-ups, or a seated leg press that's going to translate into better squatting. The free weights are just a little bit more complex, so I like to use the more stable machines to teach people the motions in the most simple form with real light weight, and gradually increase that weight and transfer it into more functional movements like push-ups and pull-ups and free weight squats or dumbbell chest presses or cable pull downs.
And just listening to you, do you feel, say if I'm going to do a chest press, I prefer free weights, dumbbells, something like that, but do you think that the machine would help you learn the correct movement?
Oh, definitely. It
That'd be a good place to start.
There should be a skill transfer over for sure, definitely.
But part of what you're saying is the stabilizing muscles seem to be brought into it more when you're doing free weights because you're not locked into a pattern.
Definitely. There's more transition from wide to narrow or from high to low. On a machine, you can't really get that. It's super strict.
And I do see a lot of, unfortunately, poor form or too rapid movement with a lot of people working out in the gym, and that's a recipe for injury.
Yeah, tempo is a big thing that is missing. A lot of people's tempo is about 0.5, 0.5, so they're flying through their reps when actually they should, on the average, on most time, they should try 202. So 2 seconds on the concentric, 2 seconds on the eccentric.
So basically, to clarify that, you're saying 2 seconds pushing out and 2 seconds going back down.
Yes.
Slow and what you're saying is they're going too fast.
Oh, yeah. And so they might get a set of 16 or 12 reps, and it might only take them 5 or 6 seconds.
And they're throwing the weights around.
It should take them 3 times the amount of time. That way they're actually getting time under tension, and therefore their body gets just a lot more from it, more endurance, more strength.
A lot of people end up having tendon rupture or tears of their muscles doing that too. We see that.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Well, I know when I see you training people these days and yourself, you certainly abide by that because you do it, I think, longer than 2 seconds sometimes. I say you do a 4 seconds out and 4 seconds.
Changing the tempo.
Extreme this and extreme that, but usually it's with very mild weight and focusing on breath and range of motion. And
you can make a whole different workout just by slowing down.
Exactly, and that's huge because a lot of people are just doing the same machines, doing the same tempo, and if they just change the tempo up, they would get a totally different effect.
I find slow pull-ups, Ed, if you ever do those, it's a lot of fun and it's really hard.
Much harder.
It's hard if you need it. Once you've got it, they get easier. Yeah. So,
yeah, pull-ups is still my number one only genetic gift athletically. I'm a weenie everywhere else, but for some reason I've been able to pop those chin ups still out. I can still do 20 on one hang.
If you ever have to climb for your life, you're going to be able to do it.
Yeah, if I'm climbing out of a building burning or someone chasing me, I can at least go up.
Well, there was that man on the news a couple of weeks ago climbing to save his 65-year-old mother. Did you see that?
No.
And he climbed 19 floors on a burning building.
No, on the outside?
On the outside.
Wow. Dang, that's a hero story.
And I think he had a fractured hip at the same time.
Oh, okay.
That's impressive.
The things we
Adrenaline.
The
so
things we can pull out.
Pull-ups.
Yeah. Okay, Joy. So, a lot of people listening are seniors, and I don't want to say it, but I guess I'm legally a senior. But
silver moment.
Silver alert. A senior who just wants to build or exercise for longevity, not trying to look that much better, even though all of us want it, and it will be part of what you get from exercise. But for talking about bone mass, and I know that we lose about 1% of muscle mass past the age of 40-ish if we don't do anything. That's why a lot of people at 60 have a lot of looseness going on, because if you look at pictures of other cultures in the world, especially Dr. Greene and I talked a few weeks ago about the Okinawans and how fit and healthy they are. Their look at 70 is like our look at 40. because they're thin, but they maintain the muscle mass. They don't have just skin and flab. Well, one reason is because they don't lose the muscle. So what would you recommend for seniors if they are in a gym, or if they actually have adequate equipment at home? What are you recommending for them? A basic program.
Well, I would say, and knowing firsthand with having going through some muscular imbalances and some skeletal imbalances, the first thing that they probably want to do is some movement rehab, and just move the body nice and easy, move the hips around, do some step ups or some rotational step ups, train the core through their functional groundwork, crawling, quadruped exercises, dead bug exercises. But then once they do get the machines, I would recommend starting off with very, very lightweight and working up to 30 reps with that, because I feel like that is a high enough set of reps where if something in their system's overworking or overprotecting, it'll have a chance to tire out, and then therefore whatever's not working enough can pick up the slack.
Oh, I like that.
I have a question. If you're doing that higher rep, are you getting cardio as well? Are you trying to?
Definitely. It's definitely going to translate into endurance and just balance of that muscular system that you're trying to work.
I love that. And here's my take on it. My sister is 10 years older than I am. She's 72, and she's not one that's ever been in a gym in her entire life. She didn't make fun of me because I've been such a devoted person since age 14 to the gym, but she had her dog ran into her accidentally about 9 months ago and broke both of her legs. Well, it was a horrendous injury, and she had to have surgery and, of course, rehab, went to Siskin, which they did a really nice job and helped her. But I gave her a 3-month membership to a gym here in town, and thinking she wouldn't go. But the thing that made me think she might is because at Siskin, she said after each workout or physical therapy, she felt like a new person. She told me that. She said, and she calls me Eddie. Eddie, I now somewhat understand the reason you have been to the gym 5 days a week for 45 years. And she said, I had no idea before. So I bought her a 3-month membership. She's going every other day and cannot wait to get in there. But I'm saying this to say this. I knew that she would walk in that gym and get lost. I knew she would get frustrated. So I hired a personal trainer who long ago I thought personal training was a luxury. It is not, people. It is as mandatory as, not as, but close to, say, Dr. Greene's responsibility for helping you to manage your health. A good personal trainer is important if you're not a gym nut, because you're going to go in a gym and hurt yourself.
Let me say, I would think even if you don't have a personal trainer, if you go in a gym, so you go in Gold's and you don't know what to do, you can go ask Joey. You can ask one of the employees, one of the trainers, right?
Yeah, usually the first one's on us. And typically they like it so much and appreciate it so much that they'll end up purchasing more sessions.
Yeah, there you go. But you have to be careful because and I've said this before, I'm a pilot and I will not fly with 50% of the pilots out there because they're just complacent, wonderful people, but the same with gym people. Some people got it and some people don't. You got it, Dr. Greene, for medicine. I have it for nutritional. Joey has it for personal training. If someone was interested, Joey, to really take a step into this arena of personal training, how would they contact you and how does that work?
You could come into Gold's Gym. I work at 6933 Lee Highway. There most of the day from 5 a.m. to about 6 or 7 p.m. I only live about 2 minutes away, so it's real easy to keep me accountable. But yeah, you can follow me. I post a lot of videos on Instagram and Facebook. Daniel Bruns on Facebook and Jojo Brunsey on Instagram.
Good. And yeah, sometimes my filter is a little bit less than it used to be. So here's my little comment.
What filter?
Huh?
What filter?
I'll ignore that because
did I say that out loud? I'm so sorry.
I was about to throw a little bad word out, but I'm not going to because there's a slight filter still working. If I go to a healthcare practitioner like yourself, Dr. Greene, and you are, 85 pounds overweight and your britches are pulled down in the back, and I say you're a crack and you're unshaven and all this other crap, I'm not going to really trust your advice. You look like a physical specimen. I hate to be nice to you, but you do. You're fit. You give me competition, and yes, you are younger, but not that much younger. No. So, you have the look of health. You practice what you preach. You talk about eating healthy, and you're not perfect. None of us are, but you really know your stuff, and you set the example. Joy is incredibly fit, and I will say the Golds on Lee Highway, which I've been there 15 years. The people there, the trainers, have been there a long time.
And Ed does practice what he preaches. He does.
And so I think the three of us are the kind of people that if you want to further your health and get wise advice, you can get advice anywhere. You can get it at the BP gas station if you pull in there. But we need wise advice. So I'm encouraging people who want to get fit, who are uncertain, to contact Golds and to contact you, Joey, or some of the other personal trainers. Again, do you want to give their phone number or your phone number? What would you like?
Yeah, you can give me a call at 423-505-2244. Okay. And that's my personal cell phone. So
wonderful.
That's how passionate I am about fitness. If you've got some issues, please text me.
And make sure and ask for help at a gym if you don't know what you're doing. Most people are very happy to help you. People ask me all the time. And I'm not even a trainer. They just think I work there sometimes. I'm like, well, if we see him all the time, we'll just ask him. I don't mind helping, but the people who are trained to do it are far more capable.
They are normally.
Like Joey.
And, the big muscle heads, I would say for the average person, stay away from their advice because they are sometimes on a different path. It's not a bad path, but that's not the people you want for, a senior or someone that's out of shape. Thank you, Joey, so much. It is time for us to take a break. When we come back, we'll be discussing more about your health. We've got that, plus more to come. For Dr. Greene, I'm Ed Jones, and stay with us.
We're all about healthy living and enjoying life. Vital Health Radio, presented by CHI Memorial on 98.1 The Lake. We'll be back after these messages. Welcome back to Vital Health Radio, presented by CHI Memorial on 98.1 The Lake.
Welcome back, and thank you for making us a part of your day. We're a radio show that's all about your health, wellness, lifestyle, nutrition, and healthy living. I'm Ed Jones, back again with my partner, Dr. Greene, and here we are talking about health again. And I wanted to kind of make a comment about this study. And normally we have our computer running up on the screen, but you can't look at it because it's not working. However, it was a cool study on red wine and the active ingredient called resveratrol, which of course we sell at Nutrition World, and astronauts. What they found was that anytime that we are in zero gravity, we lose about 1% to 2% of our bone mass a month, and everything weakens, including even the eyesight. I didn't realize that till this article. But what they found was when they gave animals resveratrol from red wine, it almost stopped the loss of bone and other issues in the body. And they don't really know for sure how that was working. But it's another, again, I'm all about doing it from food first. But, of course, we know that things like wine, you could have a problem if you drink too much. I mean, actually, red wine bothers me. I think it's a histamine release. The only thing I can actually drink anymore is, as you know, tequila, because it's a very clean alcohol. It agrees with my body. But I can take resveratrol in supplement form, which is what I do. So it was an interesting study.
Well, that is. And we know weight-bearing exercise will help to prevent or at least reduce the rapidity of bone loss. So we usually recommend that to our aging population. But I hadn't heard of a separate supplement. That's interesting. But, red wine, most people know there is some cardiovascular benefit in moderation. You may not also know, I can't remember if I've mentioned here, but gosh, way back in about 2008, I remember reading a study or hearing about it that any reasonable quantity of alcohol, small quantity, not to excess, daily reduces your risk of stroke, but only for that day, for about a 24-hour period. So, their alcohol in itself is not horrible like so many things, moderation. So that little bit of tequila, I'm sure you have that in moderation, sir, might reduce the risk of stroke. So otherwise, I don't know of any medicinal qualities to that. You saw the one on coffee as well, I guess, from a couple of weeks ago?
No.
So they finally completed another study. Every study that comes out says coffee is actually good for you. Very odd. I mean, I drink gallons per day. I think really not that much people, but a lot. And I really like it, have been drinking coffee since the age of 6. The study was designed to see if it increases the risk of cancer. It does not. So they finally completed that, and it's one more study that is showing at least the benefits or lack of harm in general from coffee.
I love it. And, of course, we can always take something good and even make it better. And the concern with me with coffee is, number one, is it brewed with clean water? Because tap water is simply filthy, in my opinion. The companies, the city companies, do the best they can to make it pure, but they cannot filter out all of the pharmaceuticals and all of the other things. So I encourage people to use water filtration. And again, devil's in the details. Nutrition World sells something called ProPure, P-R-O-P-U-R. I scour the world for good economical water filters. This is a carafe for $60 or $59. It will last a year for one person, so it's very economical. And it's one of the few filters ever made that can remove fluoride. Why is that important? Because even if you don't care or think about the fluoride issue, fluoride is a molecule smaller than any other one in water. That means if it can remove fluoride, it can remove almost any contaminant because of the size of that. And so yes, I do drink coffee every single day. I do prefer organic if I can do it. Again, a lot of the coffee growers in other countries are using a lot of chemicals because they're simply not regulated really at all, and they can do what they want. So, but even with that, believe it or not, coffee, even sprayed with pesticides, when it is cooked and filtered and brewed correctly, it actually removes most of the chemicals. So even non-organic coffees still pretty dang good if it's using clean water to begin with. Now, I have told you also about what I do at the gym every morning with my hair and coffee.
That's right. Yes, you had said you were going to start doing that.
I
so
did.
We haven't mentioned that in at least a month?
2 months, because about 2 or 3 months ago, and I have a podcast called The Holistic Navigator, and I have 31 shows under my belt, and I'm doing topics, specific ones, like I did one on hair loss. Well, on the hair loss one, I'm going through all these different scenarios of what I have found that could help people, men and women, prevent hair loss. Well, one of the things that came to me after I did the show, because I kept looking into it, was a PubMed study. There's actually, I think, 3 of them, where the application of caffeine to the hair after shampooing was impressive as far as how it kept men and women's hair in and helped it to grow.
And it was the caffeine, not the actual coffee?
Exactly.
So you could pour Monster on your head? Or 5-hour energy?
Oh my gosh, I never thought of that. I kind of like the smell of the coffee in the morning, so I'm doing it almost every day. So I'll go to Starbucks, I do my reading in the morning, I drink probably half of my coffee, and then I'll take it to the gym. And after shampooing, I've been pouring it on. And I'm pretty well blessed, not as blessed as you. You have a perfect head of hair, but I kind of want to keep it. So what's the big deal? A little bit of coffee, we know it can't hurt you. So I'm doing it, and I'm the guinea pig, the self-appointed guinea pig of Chattanooga, as always.
I wish somebody would do a study to see if coffee drinking reduces hair loss.
No, it doesn't. I looked. No.
Shame.
There are studies showing that there was some pretty potent creams that contain a type of caffeine from coffee applied could actually increase fat burning around the waist. Only slightly. It wasn't like any miracle, but if you've got a 4-pack and trying to get a 6-pack, you could probably do it. In fact, being nutty the way I am, I actually pour the last few drops on my abs in the morning, which is doing nothing because it cannot get down to the fatty level. It's just washed off, but I like to play mental
could wrap
games.
you in cellophane after you do that.
Yeah, and I go back in the sauna and cook myself.
Have you ever looked to see if they have hair care products with caffeine?
Well,
that's something I've never looked for either.
I haven't, but here, let me tell you what I did 2 days ago. I still shave with regular shaving cream, and I go to the Publix where I went to go buy my normal everyday what I buy when I go there, which is organic blueberries, because I use it in my special drink that I use for breakfast. I don't eat breakfast because I don't think it's healthy. I can drink a healthy breakfast, and one of them is organic blueberries. But I needed some shaving cream. So I go over the section, and they have this new can of Barbasol. And it looked cool, new color. I want to try new things. It was shaving cream with caffeine. What an interesting marketing. Why? I don't know. I haven't looked into what benefit would that be. Now, I'm thinking it's the benefit to the company only because it's playing with people's minds. Okay, I need some energy, so I'm going to shave with caffeine. But how weird is that?
I'm going to look. Well, we'll have to look and see if there's like a shampoo or a conditioner that does that. Now I'm curious.
Yeah, we need to because I bet
not,
you there
let's
is.
make our own.
Uh-oh, don't give me another entrepreneur idea.
Let's call the guy from Bulletproof and do it. We can have a keto-friendly bulletproof shampoo. How's that? If he's listening, what do you think about that?
I have about 17 irons in the fire, and I don't need 18s, but thank you.
Neither do I, but it sounds fun.
Yeah, that one won't leave my mind. Thank you very much, or no thank you for that, actually.
Bulletproof hair, here it comes.
Well, and not talking about myself all the time, but I am going to be entering a contest. I think I may have told you about it. It is in actually 3 weeks or 2 weeks from now, called Beard-a-Nooga. Did I tell you about it?
Nope.
Okay.
I would remember that.
No,
Not Mustache-a-Nooga.
No, but okay. So about 5 months ago, I was growing a mustache. I had not had one in probably 12, 15 years, and I just got on one of those crazy tangents of I never have had a handlebar mustache, and I don't see anyone who does. Well, so I find this guy who trims beards and mustaches. His name's Matt, and he is fantastic. He's at the Chattanooga Beard Company, and he's went to him, and he started coaching me on this mustache. Well, it is a headache, let me tell you, everyone. I carry a can of wax, and I'm waxing it about 4 times a day. It's like training a puppy. But Matt is doing a sanctioned event. This is almost like a rodeo or really a big-time deal. People coming from all over the country. And part of it is going to be a category called Styled Mustache. And it's going to be at Southside Social.
So you're not growing a beard, though?
No, I can't. I'm a businessman. But August 3rd, and what it is there's trying to raise funds for this sweet little boy named Lincoln Marty. He needs a van. He's very disabled, cannot afford to be transported in the regular cars that his parents own. And so Matt and his group are going to help raise the funds to help buy the van. So if anyone wants to know, or if they have a beautiful beard and you want to compete, or a mustache, look up Beard-a-Nooga, or you could look up Chattanooga Beard Company. So I will be posting some of this craziness on social media after the contest. So there you go. That didn't have anything to do with health.
No, but I was going to try to get you to grow, Gerard Butler's beard from the 300. I was going to get you to go for that one. That square look,
Oh.
But you're not going to grow it, so much for that.
I don't see any facial hair on you, son.
Yeah, I don't like that. I can grow a beard in about a day, but I just don't like it. I did that a few years ago. I decided to try sideburns, and I remember, my middle child took one look and flew in to see her at college. She just looked at me and went, "No." So that was shaved off immediately, and I grew it just for her, thinking she'd like it. But she said I looked like Elvis, and they were gone.
There you go. Okay. Well, I've had some interesting comments on Handlebar because it is a classic old mustache, and I tell you, it's a hate or love because I have so many people who say, I love it, and then other ones say, what is going on your face?
And I wish I had taken a picture. I think I mentioned to you when I was at Orange Beach and, when I got to meet Jimmy Buffett. Love that. That was so much fun. But there was a gentleman, and I swear the handlebars came out past his ears, and he had them into 3 different loops. It was the most amazing thing I've ever seen. I think there were birds nesting in the corners. It was incredible.
Well, I did put a little bit of the coffee on my hair in the morning. I am putting it on the stash. So.
With that Barbasol now, it's going to be a huge stash soon.
I didn't think about that. Let's talk about health 1 second because I've got about 2 minutes left. What I like to make fun of on the media is, again, we talked about the flesh-eating bacteria and how they have to dredge up that 1 in a million to have headlines.
That's because bad news sells.
Bad news sells. Good news doesn't sell as well. We have to keep that in mind. So, don't take these things too seriously. But, Dr. Oz had this huge warning because this lady in Australia ate too much protein and died, and she's going on a campaign to stop all sales of protein powders in Australia. And this lady was 25 years old. She did have some kind of genetic condition that it produced too much ammonia when she ate protein. It's 1 in 10,000 people have this. So let's see. That makes no sense that 1 in 10,000 has a genetic defect, but they want to ban protein. And Dr. Oz is kind of like, yeah, we got to make sure that, it is damaging people. That's BS because we're not, we have to have some regard for our wisdom, IQ, and knowledge. It's kind of like the flesh-eating bacteria. Are you going to never swim in a pool again? No.
In the vast majority, if you have a couple of grams of protein per kilo of body weight per day, drink adequate fluids, you're in zero danger. And people now have seen people who are taking, say, 10 grams of protein per kilo and doing high-dose creatine and not drinking enough water, and that's probably not the best choice. But if my patients, when they ask me officially, if you're doing it, have your physical. Let me check your kidney function. Let me check you out. Make sure you're okay. It's easy enough to find out from your provider if you're hurting yourself or not. So, read the directions, follow the labels. Don't do in excess and drink plenty of water. The water is really the big thing. I don't know. I have to look this condition up, but it's so rare, and I'm not a geneticist, so we'll have to find out what that is. But I agree with you. It's so rare. Do you need to be frightened of it? No. Should you maybe be aware of it and watch your health? Absolutely. Why not? That's just good health.
It is, and you're exactly right. In fact, last week we had the great interview with the urologist, Dr. Cyrus, it's close to that, and we talked about his number one advice to not get kidney stones was to be hydrated.
It was Mark Curran, wasn't it?
Mark Curran, yes. I fly airplanes. There's an airplane called Cirrus, and for some reason, when I met him, I thought that word, so of course it sticks in the brain.
It was a C.
Yeah, thank you for the credit. I appreciate that. I am having a silver alert. I saw that coming back from Florida, instead of amber alert, a silver alert. So I told my girlfriend, I said, when I forgot something later in the day, I said, silver alert.
So, I'm going to start using that.
Okay, it's time for us to take a break. When we come back, we will be having Dr. Greene's spiritual moment. We've got that plus more to come. For Dr. Greene, I'm Ed Jones, and stay with us.
You're listening to Vital Health Radio, presented by CHI Memorial on 98.1 The Lake. We'll be back after these messages. Welcome back to Vital Health Radio, presented by CHI Memorial on 98.1 The Lake.
Welcome back, and thank you for making us a part of your day. If you're always on the move, download the free radio.com app to your smartphone or tablet, and keep us tuned in each Sunday morning right here on 98.1 The Lake. We are a radio show that's all about your health, wellness, lifestyle, nutrition, and healthy living. I'm Ed Jones with Nutrition World, back with my partner, Dr. Christopher Greene, and we always look forward to Dr. Greene's segment, The Spiritual Moment.
Well, thank you, Ed, for the introduction. The Spiritual Moment is brought to you by Silverdale Baptist Church. If anyone would like to learn more about Silverdale Baptist Church, just visit their website, which is silverdalebc.com. That's silverdalebc.com. Also, you can download their free app for iPhone or Android. It is free and works very well. Today, we continue with the theme of how we cope with pain and suffering in life. It's just one of the questions I get all the time, and frankly, it's something I think we all deal with on a daily or at least weekly basis at some point. Let's start with Zephaniah. Don't hear from that book a lot. Zephaniah chapter 3, verse 17. The Lord your God is with you, the mighty warrior who saves. He will take great delight in you. In his love he will no longer rebuke you, but will rejoice over you with singing. Psalm chapter 56, verse 8. Record my misery. list my tears on your scroll. Are they not in your record? And Psalm chapter 18, verse 6, in my distress I called to the Lord. I cried to my God for help. From his temple he heard my voice. My cry came before him into his ears. Pain, suffering, grief, a broken heart. Trying to fix these alone can feel a lot like trying to fill a bucket that has a big hole in it. Having good friends who listen and understand, who show compassion and understanding, provides amazing healing in these times. I know that personally. Knowing that someone truly understands the deepest wounds of our souls is a powerful source of healing. That heart connection speaks peace into the storms of our souls and is grace and medicine to our wounded hearts. Having that connection with another human being is truly a wonderful thing. But Psalm 31 reveals that even sweeter truth, that God himself knows and understands our most desperate sorrows. In verse 7, the psalmist writes, I will rejoice and be glad in your steadfast love, because you have seen my affliction. You have known the distress of my soul. Now, the Hebrew word translated rejoice means literally to spin around. And the term steadfast love can also be translated as merciful kindness. Well, combine these two into a new translation, and it might read something like, I will spin for joy and be glad because of your merciful kindness to me. Take comfort, knowing that God understands your pain. The one who understood the psalmist is the same one who understands your pain, and also the one who provides comfort and healing for your soul. Now, that is indeed a reason to spin for joy. Let me close with Psalm chapter 34, verse 18. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. That is your spiritual moment for the day. Ed, back to you.
Thank you, my friend, and I know you're getting many thanks out there in a silent way. I'm always, again, the self-appointed guinea pig. I love being a detective to help people to embrace more of their own power to assist their health. And it's by no means trying to replace the experts like yourself, but I bought a machine called an Echo, E-K-O. It's the coolest thing on earth. It is actually a ECG machine that I have, and what it is that's what picks up the cardiac health. They can read out on my cell phone now as though I was doing an ECG at your office. So what I'm doing is I'm wanting to figure out things to empower people who want to be empowered. So I could do this and send this ECG to you off of my cell phone. Is that not cool?
That is really cool. So how much is that?
It is $399. This is what it looks like.
Well, that's not really much more than the one I buy from, I forget who makes mine.
I did get a special because it was like a intro. I think it sells for $6.99 normally.
That sounds more like it.
But it is phenomenal, and you can see how small it is.
It's crazy. I had a student who had one that actually had, it was a Wi-Fi stethoscope and Bluetooth and could connect to anybody's phone. You could share what you're listening to with your patient.
Huh.
Now, there's some HIPAA, you got to think about HIPAA laws and all that if you're doing that. But, from the standpoint of could you send it to me? Well, yes, you could send me anything you want. The question is, will employers allow that? For instance, there are very strict rules with that, but it's an interesting technology.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because, like it says here, murmurs, arrhythmias, telemedicine. So when we get further in this telemedicine thing, I'm sitting here at my office and we've had some past issues and all of a sudden I'm feeling weird. Well, I'm going to stick this Echo on me and I'm going to, make an appointment online and then I'm going to send you my ECG. So the future of health has arrived.
I would have a blast with something like that.
I know.
How nice. And if my nurse didn't have to do EKGs again, she would love you forever.
Yeah. So that, and I'm not going to talk about it today, but I did buy another piece of equipment that is FDA approved for the treatment of insomnia, and I'm going to test it out. One of my few issues is off and on insomnia. Right now I'm doing extremely well with that. In fact, I have a podcast called The Holistic Navigator. On there I have a chapter on sleep that I have some tips that you will not hear anywhere else to help regulate back to a healthy baby-like sleep. And
Yes, and we hear that so much in primary care, and I'm sure other specialties do as well, but insomnia is extremely common. I had a little bit last night, and I had my GABA at the bedside, worked great, and it works for most patients as well who try it. But I can't wait to hear more about whatever you bought.
Yeah.
You get the most interesting things, and I'm glad that you try these things out, because if you don't experience it yourself, how can you educate someone else?
Exactly, because half the stuff out there is not going to be really the proper stuff, or it's being advertised and it's hype rather than the guts of the good stuff that we need.
And if it's trash, you don't go to it and you don't sell it.
That's right. And so I learned, it cost me some, but I'm learning for hopefully the benefit of others. You remember last year, and it just doesn't have anything to do with health, that watch that I bought?
Yes, the heating and cooling watch. I do. What happened with that?
It's still pretty, it's in my car, and what it is a watch that has basically a heater and air conditioner on the watch. And you put it on the inside of your wrist, and of course a lot of the blood flow that comes through that wrist area, when it gets cooler or hotter, it gives you the sensation of being cooler or hotter. I did use it in an airport that was absolutely frigid, or an airplane, and it was really a lifesaver because it gave me great comfort. I know a person who has hot flashes who's used it, and it has been comfortable for them. The toy I want to get is called a chill pad that goes on your bed, and it reduces the bed temperature by 12 degrees in your bed. So for the summertime, or if you're really hot, or things, it might be cool to play with.
I have a cooling pillow that works pretty well.
But
Similar.
it's not plugged up.
No, it's not plugged up. It has different airflow and materials, and it does work.
Okay. Well, I do also preach that I believe in this one study that was done on elevating the head of your bed to help you to circulate fluids better. And I have the head of my bed elevated 4 inches with these little blocks. And I'm telling you, you will feel better if you do that, because blood pools when your body's totally flat. It does not pool when it has a 4-inch elevation. And this is not a bed like a hospital bed that sits up at the front half but not on the bottom. You have to set the whole bed up.
And you could do a small elevation at first if you didn't want to put a brick.
Yeah.
You could do something, a small book, and just try it out.
Absolutely.
It also helps with heart failure and other things.
There you go. Yeah, this guy actually did a ton of studies. He's British, and he was looking at trees and how sap moves in trees. And from that analogy, he came up with this, I wonder what happens when the body is totally flat. And he kind of put those two together, the tree sap movement and the body fluid movement, and has been preaching this for 20 years and has a couple good studies on it. But my study is I feel better.
Well, we're talking, that's kind of the thing today. We talked about gravity, lack of gravity. We've talked about body position. So, we're designed to work in a certain way, in a certain environment.
And we want to be friendly to that. And this does it for this week's edition of Vital Health Radio, presented by CHI Memorial 98.1 The Lake, production from the Whitfield Media Group. Thank you all for listening. We'll be back here again next Sunday morning at 9 a.m. And the website is by Avalon Design Studio. For Dr. Christopher Greene, CHI Memorial, I'm Ed Jones with Nutrition World. Have a healthy and safe day.
Thank you for listening to another edition of Vital Health Radio, presented by CHI Memorial on 98.1 The Lake with Ed Jones and Dr. Christopher Greene. Vital Health Radio, presented by CHI Memorial on 98.1 The Lake, is a production of Whitfield Media Group. Join us next Sunday.